What's up, Darnell Mason, MMAHawaii.com. Right now we're, I guess, hours away from UFC 132, where Chris Leben versus Wanderlei Silva is the co-main event. Right now, walking the hot yet mean streets of Las Vegas with Chris Leben's coach, Burton Richardson, one of the jewels of Hawaii, or actually martial arts the world over. Burton, what's as coach, what's going through your head right now? Again, hours before the fight, what's going through your head right now?
Well, what I'm pleased about when I think about the fight coming up is just that we've worked so hard. Chris has just been so dedicated to his training, had a great game plan, really was able to study Wanderlei's fights, and Chris is ready. I mean, it's just this is what you want as a coach. You have all the training. What your goal is when you get to this day, the day of the fight, you can sit and go, you know, we did everything we could possibly do. Now it's just about Chris going in and doing his thing, because he is ready.
What did you guys do to prepare for Wanderlei? I was on Oahu a few weeks ago and heard some kind of funny stuff. I guess Ricky Wallace is like, we put the headgear on, and it almost felt like they were in a cartoon, because they'd go and try to emulate Wanderlei's style and they'd get boxed up. But can you kind of go into that? How were you getting the guys to emulate Wanderlei's style?
Yeah, so first of all, I'd show him what he does, because it's a little deceptive. Most people look at him and go, oh, he just throws a bunch of wild punches. But, he knows exactly what he's doing. He sits back on his rear foot a little bit, that his head goes back away from the opponent, which makes it seem like he's farther away than he actually is. Because it's not how far away your head is, it's how far away your feet are from your opponent. Because if his left foot is close enough, then he moves in, bang, and he can hit. Well, he goes back on his rear foot like this, and you may think you're out of range, but you're not. So anyway, what I did was I made sure everybody knew that kind of trick, and I had everybody just come and fire punches at Chris. We put the helmets on Chris, put the helmet on the guys, and I have them all line up, and one after another, they just go flying after him, and then Chris would practice moving, getting offline, and landing his shots on the target. So it worked really well. You could see him get better and better and better and better as we went on. So yeah, it worked out really well. It was fun to watch, though.
And what have you guys done to get ready for the hand speed? Is Chris gonna be ready? That's Wanderlei. I guess his birthday is actually tomorrow, but he still has that hand speed. What have we? You think Chris is gonna be ready for that hand speed?
Yes, because with that helmet, that's one of the good things is we can throw full speed, full power with the little gloves. Usually, when people go fast, they use the big boxing gloves to make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
But you have a giant glove coming in at you.
Sorry.
And the small glove is such a different profile. So by putting on the helmets, we can go full speed, full power with the little gloves. So his eyes are already calibrated to that speed.
Okay.
So yeah, so he's going to be fine for the speed. And I worked on his hand speed, did particular drills, and he also working with his boxing coach, Coach Joe from Palolo Boxing Club.
Yeah.
And so yeah, his hand speed is actually Chris's is the best we've seen.
What about ground game?
Ground. I must say he's awesome. Awesome on the ground. We had some different guys come in, and he really has torn some guys up. We have some particular high-level techniques, been training him on for actually over a year, and he's now very proficient with these. And if they get in the correct position, if that position happens, you're going to see Chris pull off a submission or a move that hasn't been seen in the UFC yet.
Oh, definitely can't wait. And I know Joe Rogan talks about how underrated his ground game is. Again, it's one of his students who's been his training dummy. I know, like, from watching Chris roll with guys like Rylan Lazarus and Abe Torres and whoever else you guys brought in. I know Chris is definitely no slouch on the ground.
Yeah, he even got to roll with Jake Shields.
Oh, wow.
Who's one of the best grapplers in the UFC. And Jake couldn't keep him down. Jake actually probably weighed more than Chris at that time because Chris was cutting weight when Jake wasn't. And, Chris would be on his back and boom, he pops back up. And I'll tell you, that's quite a feat against Jake Shields. So, yeah, really, really happy with his ground game, and I mean, hopefully you may get to see it tonight. We'll see.
So how long has, how many fights is this for you and Chris?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I think this is the 7th fight, maybe the 6th that I've been the head coach. But yeah, I'm very pleased because, the great thing about Chris that people don't realize sometimes is that he is really a student of the game. So he wants to be his best. And he will train when I show him something. And sometimes at first he doesn't want to, he's like, I don't know. We joke about that. He's like, yeah, that's me. You show me something, I'm like, Yeah. And then a week later, I'm like, I love that. Right? Yeah. So there are certain things that he's picked up. I mean, it's really, really something to see.
So where does this put him, I guess, in the, rank structure or how do you, certification structure for JKD Unlimited? Where does this... Is he do you use sash? Does he use t-shirts? Like, where would he fit in right now? In
JKD Unlimited, he would be one of the best instructors. He doesn't do a lot of weaponry work, which is important for us in JKD Unlimited because it's towards street self-defense and all. But Chris is so skillful in the kickboxing, the clinch, and the ground. And what's great is he knows how to explain it. So he's not a fighter that only knows how to do it. He can actually explain it because he's a great coach also. I mean, a really, really good coach. And sometimes when I'm leading the fight team over there and training him, I actually ask him to explain it because sometimes that puts it in your mind better. And he just does a great job. He gets all the points. He's a very, very good coach.
All right. Again, moving well into the 21st century, where do you see, JKD, we've seen it on display in the octagon. We got Chris Leben, we got Tim Boach. Do you feel it's kind of surpassed, where Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu used to be it, then wrestling, then it was Muay Thai, kickboxing. Now, do you see it all coming together? And again, with fighters like Tim Boach and Chris Leben, do you see JKD now being the go-to art since, and not to knock, the Machida era, but karate was back for a little bit, but...
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that because it's very evident when you see kickboxing, when you see grappling, jiu-jitsu, whatever it is, wrestling. It's very evident that, that guy's a wrestler, that guy's a jiu-jitsu guy, that guy's a kickboxer, that's where he came from. But if you look at the coaches, at least half, maybe more, of the top coaches, actually it's probably 75 or 80% of the top coaches, all have a JKD background. Mark Delagrati, Robert Follis, Greg Nelson, Eric Paulson, myself, and there are a whole bunch out there. I didn't even know some of them had a JKD background. They come up to me when they see me at the fights. They're like, oh, guy, it's great you're here, and this and that, and, and like, wow, so many of them. Because what it is, it's the philosophy. It's a philosophy of being proficient in all the ranges and tactics, how to train. And so then you get a great wrestler, and you take that JKD concept, boom, now he's doing jiu-jitsu and kickboxing and knowing how to do the transitions in between. Get a great kickboxer, JKD concept, boom, he's doing wrestling and jiu-jitsu and all the transitions. So, yeah, actually the JKD concept has been in there from the beginning, and as Dana White said, Bruce Lee is the father of mixed martial arts. He's the one that said, hey, let's not limit ourselves.
So, Burton, where can we learn more about you, more about JKD Unlimited?
Yeah, if you go to jkdunlimited.com, a lot of information there. I also, for those interested in the weaponry, I have Battlefield Kali with a K, .com, and MMA for the Street will take you there too, .com, MMA for the Street.
And one last question. They just opened up a martial arts history museum. Have you had a chance to visit it yet?
I did not. We're just working on keeping Chris ready to go. That's our whole focus, is just having everything perfect for this fight.
All right, thank you, Bert.
Sure. One more thing, just I haven't announced it really publicly yet, but there's a publishing company called Victory Belt that makes the books,
yeah.
Right. I just got signed a contract with them to do a self-defense, like MMA for the street self-defense book, which will cover all the ranges, but everything, taking MMA and changing it, altering it so it's specific for self-defense. So it's basically JKD plus MMA put together.
Oh well, and owning a couple Victory Belt publications, they do have, again, great paper quality, great photos that break it down like really Barney style, or as Chris would say, Fisher Price style, for everyone. So again, congratulations on that. Then we look forward to seeing that. Is it going to be digital and print, or just print only?
It'll be print, but there will also be a digital version available as well.
Cool. Thank you very much, Bert.
Okay.
And for Burton, this is Darnell Mason, MMA Hawaii. Always real people, we're fighters. Okay. Aloha.